Zutalo, is this a picture of Martin Luther King? Why, yes, Jules the giraffe. Do you know about Martin Luther King? Do I know about Martin Luther King? Are you crazy? Of course I do. The man is a poet. He is an artist. He is a lover of freedom for all people. Of course I've heard of him. Is this a story for KidTime StoryTime? Yeah, yes it is. I am going to sit and listen to you now. Oh, okay. Who knew? Well, I guess that Martin Luther King is indeed a man of the whole world. Exactement. And this one is called Martin's Big Words. So let's begin with the words, shall we? Everywhere in Martin's hometown, he saw the sign, white only. His mother said these signs were in all the southern cities and towns of the United States. Every time Martin read the words, he felt bad until he remembered what his mother told him. You are as good as anyone. In church, Martin sang hymns. He read from the Bible, he listened to his father preach, and these words made him feel good. So he thought, when I grow up, I'm going to get big words too. Oh, I love big words. So Martin grew up. He became a minister like his father, and he used the big words he had heard as a child from his parents and from the Bible. Everyone can be great. He studied the teachings of Mahatma Gandhi. He learned how the Indian nation won freedom without ever firing a gun. Martin said love when others said hate. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. He said together when other people said separate. He said peace when others said war. Sooner or later, all the people of the world will have to discover a way to live together. In 1955, on a cold December day in Montgomery, Alabama, Rosa Parks was coming home from work. A white man told her to get up from her seat on the bus so he could sit. She said no and was arrested. Montgomery's black citizens learned of her arrest, and it made them angry, so they decided not to ride the buses until they could sit anywhere they wanted, not just in the back. For 381 days, that's a long time. That, my friends, is more than a year. For 381 days, they walked to work and school and church. They walked in rain and cold and in blistering heat. Martin walked with them and talked with them and sang with them and prayed with them until the white city leaders had to agree they could sit anywhere they wanted. When the history books are written, someone will say there lived black people who had the courage to stand up for their rights. In the next 10 years, black Americans all over the South protested for equal rights. Martin walked with them and talked with them and sang with them and prayed with them. White ministers told them to stop. Mayors and governors and police chiefs and judges ordered them to stop, but they kept on marching. Wait. For years I have heard the word wait. We have waited more than 340 years for our rights. They were jailed and beaten and murdered, but they kept on marching. Some black Americans wanted to fight back with their fists. Martin convinced them not to by reminding them of the power of love. Love is the key to the problems of the world. Many white Southerners hated and feared Martin's words. A few threatened to kill him and his family. His house was bombed. His brother's house was bombed, but he refused to stop. Remember, if I am stopped, this movement will not be stopped because God is with this movement. The marches continued. More and more Americans listened to Martin's words. He shared his dream and filled them with hope. I have a dream that one day in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. After 10 years of protests, the lawmakers in Washington voted to end segregation. The white-only signs in the South came down. Segregation, that was the separation of the races. That's why the white-only signs existed, and then there were black-only signs too. But those came down. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. cared about all Americans. He cared about people all over the world, and people all over the world admired him. That is what I was saying. In 1964, he won the Nobel Peace Prize. He won it because he taught others to fight with words, his big words, not fists. Martin went wherever people needed him. In April of 1968, he went to Memphis, Tennessee, to help the garbage collectors who were on strike. He walked with them, talked with them, sang with them, and prayed with them. But on his second day there, he was shot, and he died. But today, his big words are still alive for us. Freedom, peace, together, I have a dream, love. And this, in the back, if you get this book, has a bunch of important dates, like where he was born, and when he got married, and when his kid was born, and when he got the Nobel Peace Prize. And then the last date here, January 15th, 1986, is Dr. Luther and Martin Luther King's birthday, and that's when it's celebrated as a national holiday for the very first time in 1986. See, what did I tell you? You did say, Gilles, he was a man beloved all over the world. I love his big words. I really love this story. I find his story personally very inspiring because he speaks of freedom and love. And you know the French, we love love. Yes, I know you do. Yes, I think love is a beautiful thing. And I love these words. And it is too bad that he had to make a sacrifice with his life. But I know he was fighting for a great cause. And his words, they never died. That is beautifully put. Thank you. You know, we French, we're a bit poetic. Thank you so much for joining us on this special edition of KidTime Storytime to celebrate the life of Martin Luther King. You should read much more about him because he's an inspiring figure. I have his books too. Yes, there's excellent reading. I may have borrowed one without asking. All right, kid. See you next time. And remember to always act out of love.